The delegates gasped with the appearance of the ration, and some even cowed away from the projection. They had seen it before. The ration's message had been disseminated to all council species as proof of the ration's predatory nature. But many delegates still fought their urge to run or hide when confronted with the image of the ration. Nuria opened her eyes again. Is this how Maktab planned to bring her down? To show the council a recording of her cowering in fear? Nuria looked back up at the screen. She was confused by Maktab's choice because she knew, after the ration had broadcast their threat, he had almost fainted. She couldn't imagine that he would want that projected to the council. But instead, on the holo projection, she saw the view switch back to Nuria and Maktab at their posts. It seems the ration fleet is divided into 5 squadrons of 1 dreadnought and 3 to 4 battleships each, with approximately 20 cruisers and destroyers. They also have launched hundreds of what appear to be parasite craft. Each ration squadron is headed spinward on a different heading, Maktab's projection said. No matter. Nuria's projection replied. Continue to close range. Contact the humans and the rations, let them know they're clear to attack. Long live the predators. That bastard, Nuria thought, he's edited the recording. Nuria watched in horror as her projection willfully threw her fleet to their doom. A little on the nose, isn't it? Long live the predators. Ambassador Woods leaned down to whisper to Nesh as the holo projection played overhead. Does no one remember that we tried to stop the damn battle before it started? Nesh nodded. Yes, it's clumsily done, but look around. The delegates are afraid, terrified even. They've just learned, not 1, but 2 predator species exist. And their fleet has been torn to shreds. They'll want a scapegoat, someone to blame. And Nuria makes a convenient target. And in blaming Nuria, Maktab sets himself up as the new leader of the League Security Council. Woods shook his head. I don't see how Maktab plans to get away with this though. All it will take is one contradictory account and Maktab's fabrication falls apart. Don't underestimate Admiral Maktab, Nesh replied. I would wager there is more to this than an edited battle recording. The lights came up in the council chambers as the projection ended, and once again angry mutterings filled the hall, with hostile glares directed at both Nuria and the Dreeden human delegation. I don't know what the predators promised our former admiral, Maktab said sadly, shaking his head at his former superior. But it is clear she betrayed the fleet, along with her Dreeden and human allies. It is my belief that our former admiral intended to defect with our flagship, the Flashing Hooves, to the ration after the complete destruction of the League fleet. It is only due to the bravery and skill of our battle fleet that any escaped her treachery. She only had one loose end. Me. She put me on a courier ship to assemblage, under the auspices of bringing news to the council of our defeat. But when I found that she had deleted the recording, I knew that she meant to kill me. I was the only loose end. I recovered the deleted recording as best I could and boarded the courier. My suspicions led me to search the ship where I found this. Maktab brandished an oblong device in one of his grasping hooves. An explosive charge wired to the hyperdrive. If I hadn't managed to remove it and reach you before Nuria did, she would have gotten away with her treachery. A fresh round of gasps reverberated through the hall. Thank you, Admiral, said the Arkan ambassador. Turning from Maktab, he looked down to Nuria, who looked to be vibrating with anger. The accused may speak in their defense. These recordings are falsified, Ambassador. I can prove it. Any of my bridge crew would testify to that effect. Nuria's forehoof pawed at the ground. Ask any of the captains that were at the battle. Ask Ambassador Nesh, he was there too. Sadly, replied Maktab, none of your bridge crew can be found, Nuria. But you knew that, didn't you? Maktab turned back to the council. It is our working theory that Nuria had them killed on board the Flashing Hooves as soon as they reached the station, so that they could not contest her story. As far as the fleet captains, Maktab continued, they are all on deep patrol at the ration border. Or, don't you remember tasking the fleet with this useless duty, conveniently weeks away from the assemblage? As far as the Dreeden ambassador, he stands accused as well. We can't trust anything he might say. If that's the only defense that former Admiral Nuriel can offer, testimony from allies or absent representatives, I'm afraid I have no choice. Admiral Mokhtub sighed dramatically. I must move for execution. Across the chamber floor, hollow projections of assent appeared above several delegations. This isn't going well, Nesh whispered to his human counterpart as the surrounding delegations treated him to baleful stares. Baden brought a hand up to the chin of his helmet. His story is too complicated for its own good. Too many holes. That's why he's moving for execution now, while he has the council's blood up and before it starts to unravel. I have an idea, but I'm going to need to use your speaking time again. Nesh handed his speaking stone over to Baden. Try to be more diplomatic than the last time. Did I ever tell you how most human politicians get their start? Even with Baden's helmet on, Nesh knew that his friend was wearing a predatory smile. We go to law school. Nuriel was stunned. Her bridge crew gone. What had Mokhtub done with them? His outlandish story was bad enough, but to think that he had hurt her crew. Nuriel's blood boiled. She eyed her guards and mentally gauged the distance between her and Mokhtub. Even with her restraints, she might be able to charge him before her Kurthan Gaulers reacted. Nuriel knew that this would confirm her guilt in the eyes of the council, but she couldn't stand the thought of Mokhtub getting away with this. Taking a deep breath, she mentally prepared herself for the charge. She coiled her muscles, ready to push off with her powerful hind hooves and launch her 3-ton body into the air toward her accuser. Objection. Nuriel stopped herself as symbols for request to speak and objection appeared over the Ambassador Nesh and the Terran Ambassador. Yes, Ambassador Woods, is it? The Arkan Ambassador acknowledged. Do you wish to admit humanity's guilt in this conspiracy? With respect, Ambassador Herculean, I don't believe that the Associated Republics of Terra have yet been formally charged with any crime. But it is not justice for humanity I seek today, but for Nuriel, who I believe has been unfairly accused. Ambassador Wood strode toward the dais, delegates scrambling out of his way as he did. I also believe that under league law, the accused is allowed up to 12 hours after new evidence is introduced in their trial to respond. Nuriel has been given none. This is not a trial, human. Mokhtub said from his seat at the council table. This is a hearing of treason of a member of the League Council. Trial rules do not apply when this council tries one of its own. The Arkan Ambassador nodded in assent. Admiral Mokhtub is correct. You try the patience of this council. The author's name and the link to original text is in the description. Consider tapping the thumbs up and pressing the subscribe button if you enjoyed this video.